Alright, Shalom to the elect of YAHAWASHI, starting with the 144,000 elect men, 12,000 from each tribe of Israel, which consists of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, Native American Indians, and you Israelite foreigners. You Israelites that are scattered among the other nations. You may look like them, but based off of your father's seed, it goes back to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whose name was then changed to Israel. YAHAWAH He, Prince, Power, Princes of the Most High, YAHAWASHI. Shalom to the elect. Alright, before we get started with this lesson, let's give the much due all phrases, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA HaQaDash, Halalyam, NAWA, HAYA, NAWA, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA HaQaDash. All phrases to our Father, our God, Yahawah, in the name, YAHAWASHI, in the name, the Holy Spirit. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone, and much due respect to you, sincere Akim, that's laboring in the works. And shalom to you believers, to the Akim wa, which will be you brothers and few of my sincere sisters who do subscribe to this truth. Our Barak, this lesson is edifying and plain upon the tables. I'm your brother Malkaya, representing prophets of Pasadena, Texas camp, 77504 branch. All right, today's lesson is going to go into an article I came across titled as "Government Shutdown Will Affect Texans' Lives Sooner." Government shutdown will affect Texans' lives soon. All right, I actually have a picture of it. I was reading into it. Much of it didn't really hit the spirit like that, but the title itself did. All right, usually the title of an article speaks loud and clear, and it says here, "Government shutdown will affect Texans' lives soon." Okay, this next lockdown is going to be much more draconian, right? Much more harsh, strict than the first one. All right, I'm gonna leave the link in the description box so you can click on it if you want to take a read for yourself. You're more than welcome, Akim, if you want to blow the trumpet on it too. All right, but through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI, I put some scriptures together, and I brought this as edifying. All right, 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 1 through 4, in the King James Version, Apocrypha, and it reads, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord." All right, the prophets of YAHAWASHI, who he revealeth his secrets unto, Amos 3 and 7, right, are going to have the testimony of Yahawashi HaMashiach, which is the spirit of prophecy. All right, who you see right here on the 12 tribe chart. Okay, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, Native American Indians, and you Israelite foreigners. Okay, it says, "Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true." So the words, the scriptures that the prophets of YAHAWASHI are reading from, which is from the Holy Bible, are faithful and true, because these are the words of our Creator, YAHAWASHI, and he endowed particular men to be able to write down the visions, the prophecies. Okay, right? It was done spiritually through the HAQADASH, right? So whenever you see the prophets, the men of the Lord, go into prophecies, teaching, right, reading scriptures and breaking it down, all right, these are the words of YAHAWASHI, and they're faithful and true. Especially when the men, right, starting with our elders and apostles and bishops from Great Millstone, when they go into prophecies, right? They reading from the Holy Bible. These words are faithful and true. All right. If you got the eyes to see, you can literally see prophecy right before your face, man. All right. You may not be able to see it directly in your city where you're dwelling at, but you can see it from afar. Okay. And that's a blessing. You can see the sword coming, the danger coming. All right. Verse 3. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. For all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. Right? So incredulity, right? Unable to believe. A non-believer, pretty much. So don't let a non-believer Israelite, right? A 2/3. And those of other nations. Their lack of belief trouble you believers from believing in the words of YAHAWASHI that's written in paper, the Holy Bible, which is faithful and true. Don't let a stiff-necked, non-believing Israelite have you be troubled from not believing in prophecies. Okay? All right? Because, well, all of the non-believing Israelites are going to die in their non-beliefs. And now, we continue to believe. We continue to be blessed with faith to continue to believe in this doctrine. The words of YAHAWASHI. All right? Because we can see this place crumbling. We don't see no continuing city here in America. We see this place being collapsed, being destroyed, obliterated. And we seek a city to come, which is the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of Yahawashi Mashiach, that's going to physically be on planet Earth, man. All right? So that's what we're doing. We're speaking the words of prophecy onto our people, whether they're here or forbear. Hey, we still got to speak to y'all, to you 2/3 as well too. Okay, so we can get that blood off our hands to warn you. All right, like it says here. Let's get that off. My bad. Let's see. Ezekiel. Let's get Revelation right quick. 19 and 10. Because you have a lot of men in Israel that's proclaiming to be a man of YAHAWASHI, but they're not going into prophecies. They're not giving out warning. They're not declaring the end of America's rulership. Okay. Here we go. The book of Revelation, chapter 19, verse 10 in the King James Version. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see, thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant. All right, this is an angel talking to John the Revelator. And of thy brethren that have the testimony. And of thy brethren that have the testimony of YAHAWASHI. Worship Yahweh. BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. For the testimony of YAHAWASHI is the spirit of prophecy. Okay. In 2nd Ezra chapter 15 verse 1, what? Speak down the ears of my people the words of prophecy. And there's men out there that has the testimony of YAHAWASHI HaMashiach, the spirit of prophecy, speaking the words of prophecy onto you. For an example, there will be another lockdown. And this lockdown, this is going to be a major domino effect. Just speaking as a man, it's going to be a major domino effect. We can see it through the spirit of power YAHAWASHI. And speaking as a man, like this second lockdown is going to be a major downfall for America. A domino that's going to be a major domino effect. All right, for more prophecies to come to pass. Okay, because you got a lot of people here in America that's already making videos and uploading them, talking about how like they're not going to be willing to submit to the orders of another lockdown, taking the jump shot, the JAB, the juicy juice, you know I'm talking about, the CVD 19, right, and etc. You already seen that spirit of sedition among men, you know, being increased, and it's going to be physically manifested real soon. But you have Israelites that's out there proclaiming to be a man of the Lord, but they're not going into prophecy. They're not warning you. Okay? They're not warning you. As the scripture says, to give them warning of him. Ezekiel, oh, I spelled that wrong. Salakia. 3:17. Let me get straight to the point. My bad. All right. So the book of Ezekiel, chapter 3, verse 17 in the King James Version. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman, right? A prophet. A watchman is constantly watching out for danger, impending danger. And when they see danger coming, they're going to warn the people. They're going to blow the trumpet. All right. And we're doing that spiritually by uploading lessons on the internet, going out to the highways and hedges, the chief concord places, and giving the people warning, right? Being those watchmen, warn you of what's to come from YAHAWASHI. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel, unto the house of Yashar'Allah. All right, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Latinos, Native American Indians, Israelite phoners, men, women, children, okay, young, old, all right. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel, of Yashar'Allah. Therefore hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning from me. Okay, we can see great deaths come to this place. The plagues mentioned in 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 49, how Apostle going to say plagues upon thee, widowhood, where a lot of Israelite women are about to die alone. They're not going to have a hedge of protection when all hell break loose. That's why 2nd Esdras chapter 16 verse 33 and 34, how the virgins shall mourn having no bridegrooms, the women shall mourn having no husbands. Why? Because and the daughters mourn because they have no help. The husband shall die in the war, and if not the war, like they're going to perish from the famine, from hunger. Just paraphrasing. A large portion of Israelite men are going to be decimated. A large portion of Israelite men are going to be killed, removed in the wars, in these plagues, famine, destruction. All right, when all hell break loose in the day of the Lord. All right, but you got men in Israel that's not warning you about this. That's not warning you, Israelite men or women, about this. All right, they're telling you sweet lies. All right, having you in a house of feasting instead of a house of mourning. They're not telling you about lockdowns. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel, Yashar'Allah. Therefore hear the word of my mouth and give them warning from me. So today's lesson, for an example, it's going to be another lockdown. And just speaking as a man, this next lockdown is not looking too good for you non-believing Israelites. All right, this next lockdown will be harsh. It's going to be very draconian, strict. Okay, in this lockdown, since there's already a lot of Americans, or let's say forced Americans, are already talking about how this next lockdown, they're not going to comply, man. And that's what will lead to, like I said, this is among men, upwards of the people. All right, 19. All right, the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, verses 14 through 19, in the King James Version Apocrypha. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Right, the people that's of this world. Okay, all right. You know, to the wicked elites. All right, the very rulers of this world. You know, the men and women and children of other nations. Okay, and 2/3 of our nation. Okay. Verse 15, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. Right, so you're going to have people rising up against one another in these upcoming wars, like seditions among men. Right, we're gonna get that next too. It will be another civil war here. World War III, race wars, riot wars, all hell breaking loose. A purge-like society out here, which is a lawless society. And you're gonna have people rising up against one another with the modern day swords, like guns, firearms, anything you can use as a deadly weapon, or you can use as a weapon to inflict bodily injury or to kill someone. Okay, all right. Even to the point where people want to literally create like homemade weapons, like The Walking Dead, for an example. Got barbed wires around bats with large needles, hammer needles poking through it. Homemade fire torches, flamethrowers, like the game The Last of Us. You know, you can create like homemade explosions, like a steel can with needles and spikes and everything in it, with gunpowder, and just create, you know, man-made, homemade explosions. Okay, rising up against each other, man. All right. That's what's coming to America. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men. Right? There's going to be rioting among men. There's going to be disobedience among men. Resistance. Race wars. Okay? You have disobedience for sedition. Let's get some similar terms for that right quick. All right. Let's see. All right. You have a conduct or speech inciting people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. All right. You have incitement, right, to riot or rebellion. Okay. Let's see. You got civil disorder, rioting, insurrection. Right. Insurrection goes into a violent uprising against the authority. All right. Which mentions in 2nd Ezra chapter 16, verse 71, around there somewhere. We're going to get that soon too. You got disobedience. You already got a lot of Americans that's in the spirit of being willing to be disobedient against, you know, those supposed to be the legitimate government. Okay. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard, right, take consider, or care, right, regard their kings nor princes. They shall not regard, right, consider or think of someone or something in a specific way. So when this lockdown happens, right, the people are not going to care about the fact that you're a police officer, that you're wearing a badge, that you're supposed to be someone that's supposed to enforce the law on the people. Okay? All right? They're not going to care about the fact that Joe Biden is the president. They don't care about the vice presidents, the president, the governor of this county and this city and that state. Okay? Those supposed to be like the ruling government body of America. The state, the city, the county. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. People are going to take matters into their own hands. People are going to do what they want to do. They're going to lean upon their own understanding, their own pride. All right. A lot of these Americans are very prideful of being a proud American, and that's going to lead to great destruction in this place. Right, verse 17, a man shall desire to go into the city and shall not be able. Lockdowns. All right, when you read that in the G&T version, just paraphrasing, it goes into something like how free access to the city shall be gone, something along that line. Let me want to get that for y'all right quick. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, 14 through 19, the G&T. All right. All right. It says, and from verse 14, right? The world and the people in it are doomed. 2/3 in your other nations, especially here in America. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. World War III, Civil War, race wars, riot wars, right? So this is among men, right? There's wars upon wars. The war that will bring their destruction is very nigh. It's very near. For an example, Revelation chapter 11, verse 14. Just paraphrasing how this, the second war is past, and behold, the third war cometh quickly. Just paraphrasing. The World War III is a prophecy that will come to pass, and that war is going to kill a lot of people, a lot of Israelites too. And that war is very near. Civil war is very near too. Nations will arm themselves and fight against nations, and a nation is a people for a place, right? So you're gonna have a lot of people that's gonna be arming themselves with deadly weapons, instruments of death, and fight against other people, right? There will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control. The people, the average day-to-day Joe, are going to be rising up and trying to gain control over the government, let's say, right? It says one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. The people are going to try to take control of, whatever America has left over, right? And to try to gain power, all right? It says there will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. There will no longer be free access to the cities, right? No longer free access to the cities, right? Because you're going to have martial law troops out here conducting something called, a siege. Pretty much blocking off a city, all right, from being able to receive products, goods, controlling the traffic of who gets to leave a city, what gets to leave out of a city, who gets to come into a city, a particular place, and what gets to come in. Okay, all right, causing a famine in these cities, trying to get the people to pretty much bow and give in to let me get that right quick. Siege, the definition is pretty good. Siege. Okay, siege, a military operation in which enemy forces surround a town or building, cutting off essential supplies with the aim of compelling the surrender of those inside. All right, don't be surprised that the wicked elites are going to use martial law. These Gurgu troops, these, all these people that's coming into the borders, whether on foot, in air, these airplanes, or on shore, the boats, however our power deems it for this place to be invaded. Okay, to get ready for America to be siege. Because there's a video out there how Issacharite, so-called Mexican, right, a Northern Kingdom, construction worker, was asked about like why are they still building the walls, something along that line. And the Northern Kingdom jig had explained how they're not building the wall to stop people from coming in. They're building the wall to make sure that those that are in America doesn't leave. Okay, America's about to become one huge prison cell, a big prison yard. Okay, all right. To conduct something called a siege is a military operation in which enemy forces surround a town or building, cutting off essential supplies with the aim of compelling the surrender of those inside. Don't be surprised Esau's going to use this, right, the wicked elites, to try to get the people to bow down, to be willing to take his charagma, the RFID chip. Okay, mentioned in the book of Revelation chapter 13, verse 16 and 17, right? He calls of all. Right, he required everyone. He called of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hands or on their foreheads. and that no man may buy or sell save he that had the mark of the beast or the number of the name. Just paraphrasing. All right. And an operation in which a police or other force surround a building and cut off supplies with the aim of forcing an armed person to surrender. Right? You're going to have a lot of Americans that are armed, right? That's heavily armed. You know, combat veterans, just your average patriot that's heavily armed. And, you know, Esau is going to use this siege to try to have these martial law troops to not only cut off supplies, your food, your victuals, your daily bread, right? To also get you to surrender, all right? Those who are armed, okay? To get you to be willing to comply to their NWO, the New World Order, all right? Let's see. Let's go back here. My bad. Right, verse 17 in KJV from 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 14 to 19. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go to the city and shall not be able to. Right, lockdowns, siege, right, that military operation, pretty much controlling the traffic and who gets to come in, what gets to come in, and etc. Okay. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. It's going to be looking crazy out here. It's going to be looking like a war zone. Buildings on fire, vehicles on fire. This place looks like a war zone because these Americans are going to rise up against these princes, the kings and princes. All right, and because of that, it's going to cause a lot of problems out here, a lot of chaos out here. All right, the city is going to be in great trouble. The people in it, the houses, buildings are going to be destroyed. All right, it's going to be like a war zone out here. And it says, and men shall be afraid. Even men are going to be afraid in these times. How much more you women, especially you women that believes that you don't need a man. Women and children are going to be affected big time when America becomes a new America, a lawless society. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, no compassion, no respect, no love, right? Upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, because of hunger, right? And for great tribulation. So you're going to have a lot of Israelites, whether they're from here or not from here. Like, say, for example, these migrants that's coming over here, right? They're not going to have any pity upon the Israelites that are here. That was you know, let's say born here, all right? They're not going to care. They're not gonna, these people that's coming to America ain't gonna have no pity upon anyone that's here, okay? Because they're going to be seeking for shelter, a place to stay, food to eat, water to drink. These men are going to be seeking for women to ravish them, to lay down with them, have sex with them, make them do make the women do what they want, you know, for sexual, you know, pleasure, for sexual needs. Okay, all right. Because what? For great tribulation and for hunger. Okay, let's get into the GNT version right quick. Verse 17, there will no longer be free access to the cities, because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion where people live. That's why it was this, was it Isaiah 24, verse 10 through 12, where it goes into how that the city of confusion, which is America, right, is broken down, and every house is shut up that no man may enter. There's a crying for wine in the streets, right? Crying for answers in the streets, because people are what? In total confusion, trying to figure out, like, yo, what is going on? Why is this happening? Okay, trying to seek for peace of mind, answers, but they ain't gonna find it. Okay, because the prophets, they no longer gonna be able to teach out there no more, giving y'all warning. The famine of hearing the word. Okay. Verse 19, driven by famine, right, by hunger, starvation, lack of bread, and terrible suffering, right, great tribulation. People will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. So don't be surprised you start hearing about these migrants forcing themselves into other people's places of dwelling during this lockdown. They just kicking in your doors and just moving into your place, sleeping in your place, eating your goods, spoiling your goods, right? It's not going to be a good time to be a proud, single, independent woman, a proud, single, independent mother, when you got these troops and these migrants who ain't gonna have no mercy upon you, your daughter, your sons. They're gonna be ravishing you, ravishing your children. Okay, whether you have a son or a daughter. Okay, your grandmother, your uncle, whoever. All right, drinking up all of your strong drinks, your water, your juices, your sons, your daughters, Capri Suns, and Sunny D's. Eating up your children's cereal and eating all of the damn Gusher Pops. Okay, taking your uncles, your aunts, your grandparents' medicines to get high off of it. All right, eating up all your food, right? Whatever is a resource, they're gonna be taking it from you. All right. Those are times coming into because of what? For great sufferings, man. All right, and for hunger. Let's see. So we're gonna move on to the next scripture. I'm trying to make it as edifying as possible and plain upon the tables for y'all. Okay. Second Ezra. Oh my bad. Second Ezra. Damn it. I'm not used to really typing like with the long ways keyboard. Second Ezra. 16. Let's see. 70 to 71. All right, the book of Second Ezra, chapter 16, verse 70 and 71. I'm gonna get straight to the point. Lord willing. It says, "For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection." So not just a insurrection, right? Not just a violent uprising against those supposed to be like in leadership, right? The kings and princes, right? But it's going to be a great violent uprising. It says upon those that feared the Lord. So yeah, it's going to be a great violent uprising. Let's look this up real quick. Let's see. Rebellion is a violent uprising against one's government. A rebel is a person who engages in a rebellion, right? So when you go into insurrection, it says a violent uprising against an authority or government. All right, and are not the men of the Lord, right? The 144,000 elect men, right? Was it Isaiah 32 verse 1? How a righteous king shall rule, and the princes shall rule in judgment. Just paraphrasing. And then verse 2, how a man shall be at the hiding place. Just paraphrasing, right? The elect men are being groomed, molded, trained into be the next authority and governments on planet Earth. Okay, all right. But you can also apply this to just your average day-to-day Joe, your average American out here. All right, are gonna be violently uprising against the kings and princes. Right, they shall be seditious among men, and they shall not regard the kings and princes. Right. Just your average American is going to be greatly, violently uprising against them. Okay, as well too. The next verse. All right, verse 71. They shall be like mad men, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. Right, these your average Texan, these Texans out here that has no idea what's happening, what's about to happen, are going to experience these guerrilla troops, these martial law troops. Okay, being like mad men, right? Being like psychos, crazies, sparing no one, young, old, toddler, pregnant women, newborn mothers. It doesn't matter. All right, they're not gonna have any pity upon their neighbors. They're just gonna be spoiling and destroying. Not only those who fears YAHAWASHI, the hopeful elect, right? But just your average, Jake out here, you 2/3, man. And though in the other nations that's here. Okay. All right. And also, we say they shall be like mad men, sparing none. Right? Not only these troops, but even your average American. All right, are going to be rising up violently. All right, and they're not really going to be sparing none. All right, it's going to be divisions within households, within friendships. All right, friends are going to fight like enemies. Okay. Let's see. Let's give an example of how they're going to be like mad men, like these troops, right? These migrants that's probably are like walking sleeper agents, just waiting to be activated from maybe from a frequency or from just hearing a certain chanting, a certain phrase, and be activated and turn into like some violent, crazy assassins. Okay, let's see, 23 to 26. I'm getting NFT, very plain upon the tables. Let's see. Bear with me. Let's see. Oh, my bad. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 23, verses 23 to 26, New Living Translation. For the Babylonians will come with all the Chaldeans from Pekod and Shol and Kol. Like if I'm pronouncing that wrong. And all the Assyrians will come with them, handsome young captains, commanders, right? So it's handsome young captains. You got young, strong, fighting age men and women from other nations, right? Commanders, chariot officers, and other high-ranking officers, all riding their horses. Right? They will all come against you from the north with chariots, wagons, and a great army prepared to attack. Right? You're gonna see all kinds of military vehicles out here, man. Humvees, Strikers, tanks. Okay. Being pilot pretty much controlled by these from nations that's not even from here. You're probably gonna have nations that don't even speak a lick of English, that they don't know the laws here, and they just here just to do one thing, whatever they're commanded to do. Patrolling around in Humvees, LMTVs, Strikers, tanks, other types of vehicles with mounted weapons on it, mounted heavy armed weapons. Okay. All right. Giving orders to the people here. All right. And if you don't comply, right, they don't be surprised. You're gonna see them, shooting people, killing people down, torturing them. Right. Verse 24. They will all come against you from the north with chariots, wagons, and a great army prepared to attack. For attack. They will take up positions on every side. America's already being invaded. Okay, already being invaded. Just like the movie Red Dawn. I would suggest you watch the original, the old one, not the new one, the original one. That's something crazy. It was this one scene is how in broad daylight, in the middle of the school day, between school hours, you just see like a lot of red parachutes, airborne troops. I'm guessing it was like Korea or something. It's one of those other nations. Just invaded this place in broad daylight. Came from every angle. Air, the borders, water. All right. And then all of a sudden you start seeing, you know, like the military vehicles of other nations just being, you know, set up, patrolling around, controlling, telling the people what to do. Okay. Let's see. They will take up position. I'm reading from right here. All right. They will take up positions on every side, surrounding you with men armed with shields and helmets. And I will hand you over to them, right? 2/3. And I will hand you over them for punishment. So they, right, these 𝤉𝐄 troops, martial law troops, so they can do with you as they please. I will turn my jealous anger against you, right, you 2/3, and they will deal harshly with you. They will cut off your nose and ears, and any survivors will then be slaughtered by the sword. Your children will be taken away as captives, and everything that is left will be burned. They will strip you of your beautiful clothes and jewels. So, yeah, that's what these troops are going to be doing. They're going to be robbing you, right? Spoiling your goods, okay? All right, splitting up families, taking away children from the father, from the mother, probably killing the father, taking the mother to ravish her, do other kinds of things with the children. Taking, you know, your fancy clothes, whatever is the jewelry, that whatever they see on you that they like, they're going to take it from you. Cutting off, and they'll be torturing you, cutting off fingers, limbs, ears, and lips, and just doing all kinds of things to you, man. Okay? All right? And this is all through the Spirit and power of YAHAWASHI expressing his anger upon his creation, especially 2/3 of our nation. All right? Let's see, and there's no, there will be a civil war out here. 20. I'm gonna get it in the NLT because it says it plain as day in the NLT version. The book of Mark, chapter 3, verse 24 to 26, New Living Translation. A kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. A kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. Similarly, a family splintered by feuding will fall apart. So let's say there's a household, right? A family, right? A father, a mother, and let's say some children, right? If they're all not on, if they're not compliant to the father's authority, the head that he is over the house, over the woman and the children, right? They're bucking up against the head of the house. They're going against him. They're bickering, they're fighting, they're arguing, they're being disobedient to him, right? That can cause the house to fail, to collapse. And that's what America is like. You got these Americans that's buckering, that's fueling against, that's pretty much, you know, fussing, arguing against the kings and princes, the authorities of this country, this land. And that's why we see America falling, because you're starting to see the people rising up against, you know, those supposed to be in power. And that's going to lead to what? Civil war. Okay? It says, verse 26, and if Satan is divided and fights against himself, how can he stand? He will never survive. Okay? So don't be surprised. Just it may sound little to someone, like, oh, just a lockdown. We've been hearing it so many times. A lockdown can be a major chain reaction that can lead to something big, and it will. We believe it through the Spirit and power of YAHAWASHI. So speak as a man. This lockdown is going to do a lot of damage here to America and these Americans. All right, the government shutdown is going to affect a lot of Texans. That's going to be something. All right, we hope for that, because that's the only way we're gonna get out of America, man. All right, this place got to be put down, man. We got to go. We got to be in the midst of Jacob's trouble. We got to see these prophecies come to pass. All right, we got to be in the midst of chaos so we can be delivered. Our brothers out, we do. So lucky for that. Let's get this last one. Isaiah 19:2, KJV, then the GNT. Our brothers out. If there's any scriptures that I left out that can edify this lesson even more for the flock, I can, you know, leave some precepts on the comment board. The book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 2 in the KJV. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. It's going to happen again. Americans against Americans. The people of the same nation is going against each other. And they will fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor. City against city and kingdom against kingdom. You best believe these Texans are not going to be down with this next lockdown, man. And the people from other states here in America. All right. You already got the people here in America that's not okay with these migrants just coming over here and being treated better than those who were born and raised here. Okay. They're not okay with how these migrants are just coming here and with open arms and have a place to stay for free. They don't have they don't have to pay no taxes. They don't got to pay nothing. All right. And the people here are not okay with that, man. Okay, that also can cause civil war, sedition among men. All right, the people are not okay with their legitimate government doing that. Even if it's the same people, the Israelites, whether Israelites coming from a distant country always over here to America, the Israelites here are not okay with Israelites coming from afar. Okay, all right. You got Edomites, right? So-called white people that's born here, that's not okay with Edomites that's not from here, that's coming here and being treated better. All right, it's going to be civil war here, man. The G&T version, the Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI says, I will stir up civil war in Egypt, for example, America, right? And turn brother against brother and neighbor against neighbor. Viral cities will fight each other, and viral kings will struggle for power. All right. This next lockdown, I just speaking as a man, but we hope so that this next lockdown happens soon, and to be a major chain reaction for more prophecies to be fulfilled, man. So we can get the hell up out of here. So YAHAWASHI can come back, destroy America, and beam up his elect. And we are his elect. The lesson was edifying, playing upon the tables. Hopefully you learned something from today's lesson, even if it's just like one thing. Hopefully you was edified and built in the spirit and the faith. All right, let's close out by giving the much due all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, RAWCHAA QaDash. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone, and much due respect to you sincere Akim that's laboring the works. And shalom to you believers, to the Akim wa which would be your brothers, and few of them are the sincere sisters who do subscribe to this truth. DTA, Abba soon, Kwam Yashala.